I was excited at the time when United signed Cunha and Mbeumo this summer, and nothing has changed since. United signing the best outside the top six of the Premier League was a tried and tested method under Sir Alex. And I just want to speak about both of their starts at United and why I think they are complementing each other well. And make sure you do subscribe for daily United videos here. I'll tell you one thing straight away, isn't it nice just to have a bit of genuine positivity around United and for the whole week? And after the Liverpool game, yes, just speaking about that in isolation. But in this video, I want to speak about Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha individually and together, because I think we're starting to, I think we're starting to see it. I think we've already seen it, but I think the Liverpool game was the best example of the different sort of personalities of both of the players and what they bring to this team. You can let me know what you think in the comments below, as you always do. But I'm going to focus on Bryan Mbeumo to begin with before we move on to Matheus Cunha. Now, Mbeumo for me has been, of the summer signings so far, I would say he's had the most obvious direct impact on games in terms of goals, in terms of assists, in terms of match-shifting moments. It's not to say that Šeško, Lomons and Cunha haven't been good signings, so don't put those words in my mouth. But I think he's the most obvious impact. And in terms of that goal he scored against Liverpool, not only was it a class finish, but what, 6-7 seconds before he stroked that ball home, he was on the floor because he'd just been walloped by Van Dijk and McAllister. But he got himself up, sprinted into position, got in front of Van Dijk, got in front of Konate, an absolutely top quality finish in front of the Kop 1 minute into the game. And early goals change games for Manchester United. They really do. Because there's so often we've seen under Ruben Amorim, and actually under Erik ten Hag too, that United end up getting frustrated when, even if they're playing well, it doesn't work. We're not scoring. So to score that early at Anfield was a massive nerve settler for all of those players. And down that right-hand side, I've already spoken and done a video previously on the developing partnership between Amad and Mbeumo. And for me personally, it was the partnership I was most excited to see going into this season, right? And I think you're starting to see a little bit of the personality of Bryan Mbeumo coming out. Because remember when he gave his first interview at the club, he's like, yeah, I'm quite quiet, sort of keep myself to myself. But the more I feel settled, the more I'm sort of will come out of my shell, I suppose. And I think we're seeing that with his performances. I think he's, given that we've signed Mbeumo and Cunha, two number 10s by nature. They're very different types of players. They're very different types of personalities. And they're really complementing each other well. And this is the thing, right? So Mbeumo is coming with the goals and the assists, and I suppose he's more directly impacting games. But I'd be surprised if you were to find a United fan that was disappointed with what we've seen so far with Matheus Cunha. 7 Premier League games, no goals and no assists. It's the perfect example of a player who, if you're not a fan of United and you're not watching Cunha every single week, you might think, he's not delivering. He's not doing enough. But it couldn't really be further from the truth. I'm going to use the Liverpool game as an example of this. It's not the only time we've seen it, but it's certainly the greatest example of it. And all the screenshots I'm about to show you are all from the last 10 minutes against Liverpool. All different occasions, right? This one here, started with just using his body well, getting in front of the ball, winning United a foul in Liverpool's half in the 87th minute. Fast forward here. This is probably the pick of the bunch for me, right? This is Cunha receiving the ball off the corner. You can see that's Frimpong. That's him there. And he just drives with the ball down there. He just dinks it over Frimpong. And then, from this position, he somehow manages to maintain possession. I don't really know how he did this. I'll be completely honest. But he was just scrapping with Frimpong. Wirtz came over, pushed him over. Paperweight. Not even a paperweight. Just a feather. Gave it back to Dorgu, and United kept possession. I was up cheering when he did that. This as well on the edge of the box. Look at it. 97th minute. Gets his body in between the ball. Wins a free kick for United on the edge in the 97th minute. And this is just a king shithousery moment. Goes down with Curtis Jones. Stops Szoboszlai from taking the free kick in the 98th minute. Because, no, look. Curtis Jones needs some attention, man. Medical staff. Come over here. Fuming. Liverpool were. But it worked. It helped kill the game. And that's what he did, right? You can see here by the stats, I don't really need the stats to sort of explain this, but he had the most touches. He had more dribbles than anybody else. He had won possession more than anybody else. He won the second most duels on the pitch, the second most passes. Matheus Cunha showed in that Liverpool game that goals and assists are not the single measure for the impact of an attacking player. I think that's why I'm doing this video. Because I think on the surface, if you were to look at Mbeumo's season so far, and you were to look at Cunha's season so far, you would potentially say, well, one's completely having an impact on United and one is not. It couldn't really be further from the truth. I would say that Mbeumo is having more of an impact, but Cunha also has had an injury. He's had some niggles. But in that Liverpool game, I think what you saw, as I said, is the different sort of personalities and how they complement each other. Cunha is somebody who, as far as I'm concerned, loves dropping deep, loves sort of hanging around the halfway line, sometimes dropping closer towards the edge of the box, sometimes bringing the ball up from that situation and taking on that responsibility of progressing his team forward. That's what he loves to do. That's the area of the pitch. If I was to draw like a third of the pitch where Cunha loves, it's probably either side of the halfway line and driving his team forward from there. And if I'm talking about Cunha and the third of the pitch that he loves, it's like halfway between the halfway line and the opposition's box. He loves receiving the ball on the last man. He loves running in behind. He loves driving it. And as I said, that bit there, to get from that position and 5 seconds later to be in front of Van Dijk and in front of Konate, it just shows a desire. It shows the pace that he's got and the aggression. And it's just, I think what I'm liking seeing is how complementary they are. Because they are quite different in their styles, and they're both helping Manchester United. Look, we've had a rough start to this season. It's just not worked. But there have been moments and flashes. Will that game against Liverpool be another moment and a flash? I'll be totally honest, I don't really think that it can be. I don't really think that Ruben Amorim and these players can afford for it to be. I mean, it might end up being, but surely not. Either way, I love that bit. But this isn't a video in defense of Cunha. This is a video just putting a bit of a spotlight on the off-the-ball work that he did against Liverpool that helped us so much, and especially at that time in the game. Previous United teams and previous United players, like Garnacho there, for example, he wouldn't be physically capable of doing it, and he wouldn't do it. Cunha, it's natural to him. He's that scrapper. He's more than an enforcer, but he's got a little bit of that in him. And Mbeumo, he's the man that comes with the moments that change the games. Cunha is one of the enablers. A bit like Bruno, I suppose. Just wanted to say it, all right? Because I think something is developing between them as a partnership. Not really on the pitch because they're different sides of the pitch, but I just enjoyed what I saw and I want to speak about it.